How many people do you know who struggle with their health? Chances are, whether they show it or not, most of the people in your life do. And chances are, you're one of them. Whether you're dealing with anxiety, depression, endometriosis, acne, eczema, autoimmune, thyroid, Lyme, brain fog, fatigue, or any other symptom or condition, you're far from alone. Living with symptoms has become the new normal. So no more guessing games. It's time to get answers. Welcome to the Medical Medium Podcast. I'm Anthony William. We're talking about the soul and emotional soul healing. Everyone is soul searching, whether they know it or not. But what are we really searching for? Happiness, peace, tranquility, stability, and can we heal the soul? Yes, we can. Grab some lemon balm, find a comfy place to relax, and let's get to it. So everybody is soul searching. Someone once told me, you're either soul searching or you're not. And then Spirit of Compassion said, you're either soul searching or you're soul searching. Because that's the truth. Even if somebody doesn't know it, even if they don't call it that. So that's another thing. Like you may run into somebody and it doesn't seem, they don't think they're soul searching on any level. They're just doing their thing, living their life. But they don't know they're soul searching. They're soul searching, but they don't call it that. They're not aware that it's soul searching, right? We soul search because part of us feels lost. How many people do you know have that feeling of being lost, that lost sensation, like a sadness at a certain time of day? What if it's like 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon and then a strange sadness comes over? I know so many people that have it at different times, and it's this thing you can't really explain, but it's there. We soul search because part of us feels lost or we don't feel whole. Like there's a piece of us missing. Like we're not, all of our pieces aren't there in place, right? It's just there's a piece of ourselves missing. Or because we feel like we're not living up to our soul's potential, we soul search because of life's hardships. And that's another thing too, is life's hardships make it so we want to go and soul search as well, right? Often a negative experience or a series of them will prompt a person to feel broken or depleted. Did you ever feel broken or depleted? Like you just had something happen in your life, right? Something happened in your life and it just pushed you over the edge. Like you were on your last tether. If you were a bird, you felt like you were on your last feathers. I mean, or you just felt like you were pushed over, hanging on the cliff, like done. Did you ever use that term where you're like, I'm done? I'm done, right? So many people have felt like that, where they're at a place where they're like, okay, I'm done. Or this relationship. So many people, they're in a relationship that's toxic. There's a lot of emotional turmoil in the relationship. There's a lot going on in the relationship. And they're just like, I'm done. I can't take this anymore. I can't handle this anymore. So often a negative experience or a series of them will prompt a person to feel broken or depleted and want to feel complete again. It's like, I want to feel whole again. I want to feel like myself again. And maybe I don't even know what myself felt like, but I want to feel it. I want to feel like I got all those pieces of my soul back. I want to feel like I'm not lost. I want to feel like connected to something. I want that sensation. I want that feeling. And if you have chronic illness and you don't feel good and you're struggling with chronic illness, then it really amplifies it and makes it even harder. That feeling of wanting to be complete again, that feeling of not wanting to feel lost, that feeling of no one understands me, that feeling of something's missing, that's when we need that soul searching. That's part of soul searching right there. It can take the form of attending retreats. How many people attend retreats? They're looking for something. How many people are looking for something? So they'll go anywhere and they'll do anything. They're looking for answers or they're looking for that piece of what's lost to come back. Sometimes it takes going to hear inspirational speakers, seeking advice from loved ones, enrolling in therapy. How many people are in counseling? How many people have had so many counselors, emotional counselors, therapists, psychiatrists, different forms of counselors? Because they're like trying to find an answer. Why am I thinking like this? Why am I struggling? How come I feel so sad inside? How come I feel so lost? Why am I going through this? I need to find another therapist. I need to find a therapist that understands me and can crack me because I'm hard to crack. Why am I such a tough nut to crack? How come it feels like nobody can crack me? No professional. Is there something wrong with me? Did I do something wrong? Am I crazy? Is something going wrong? I mean, these are feelings that we naturally feel that everybody feels at some point in their life. And maybe they don't feel it now, but they might feel it at another time. It's what we do when we're looking to heal and elevate our souls to strengthen our purpose in life. We look for help because we want to strengthen that purpose. We want to unlock something in our soul and we want to heal. Your soul resides in your brain. Something people don't know. Now, this is going to sound kind of gory. I know it's kind of a little off topic, but it's not really off topic. It's a little gory. But back in the olden days, the reason why they beheaded people, that was a very popular technique, is because back in the olden days, they sensed there was an energy all around here. So what they would do is medieval times, they would chop people's heads off and put their heads on spikes, right? Or pikes or something. They would put their heads on sticks on the sides of roads and all that, or they would behead people with guillotines, right? For some reason, they felt like that was the most satisfying way to end somebody's life because there was something more satiating about it in the medieval days. And what they were actually tapping into without realizing it, there was a lot going on here. But they didn't know that's where the soul resides. And that's why they had a desire to behead people because the soul resided in the head. They didn't know that. They didn't know the soul resided in the head, but they had this innate desire when they wanted to end somebody's life to behead them, to chop off their head. That is why they did that. And then they had this innate desire to exhibit someone's head chopped off. They had this innate desire to actually exhibit it. So exhibit the head on a pike on the sides of roads or in villages where they would slay a village and then they would chop off everybody's head and put it on pikes because they felt that a message was sent more. And what it was what they were detecting. Yeah, it's gory, but what they were detecting was there was more energy here, even though the whole body, there was more body weight and body mass everywhere else. There was more energy here. So what they were detecting without realizing it, they were detecting the soul was here inside the brain. So they had a great desire. If they wanted to end somebody's life back in the medieval, the dark ages, they would chop off the head. Your soul resides in your brain, where your soul stores memories and experiences. That's where your soul is storing memories and experiences. They're in the soul. When our soul leaves our body, it takes these experiences with it. When you pass from this mortal realm, your soul carries those memories as it moves onward. Your soul carries those memories as it moves onward. So when we pass from this mortal place, this mortal realm, right? Our soul carries these memories as it moves onward. Even if someone has a brain injury or brain disease that keeps her or him from remembering certain things. So hear this for a second. So if somebody has Alzheimer's, dementia, if someone is losing their train of thought, losing their mind, and they pass away from a brain disease, Even if someone has a brain injury or brain disease like Alzheimer's or dementia or something like that, encephalopathy, right? That keeps her or him from remembering certain things, the soul will bring all those memories with it when that person passes on. If you have a grandfather, a grandmother, or a family member or a friend that is losing their mind because they have the Alzheimer's, they have dementia, they're really suffering, they don't even know who they are, they lose their memory completely, and they pass away, you have to remember something. The pain and suffering a loved one has says, where did their memories go? Don't they remember me? How come they don't remember me? How come they don't see who I am? My grandfather's sitting there and he knows me. He raised me. I'm walking into the room and my grandfather's saying, "How are you? I don't know who you are." You have to remember that every memory that that grandfather has, grandmother, that friend, that mother, father, that brother, sister, every memory that they have about you in their life is still trapped in there. It's in there. Just because the brain disease is eating away neurons, it doesn't mean the soul doesn't take those memories with it. That's the whole point. And what I learned from Spirit of Compassion is the soul takes those memories with it as it leaves. So it's not like that family member, their lives are just completely wiped out and completely gone. It's not like that at all. It's the opposite. Yes, in that moment, it feels that way. But when they leave and their soul passes on, they have all the memories there. They didn't lose that. They know who you are. When a grandfather, grandmother, a friend, or a family member's soul is leaving them as they pass in that moment, even if they lost ability to understand who you were as they were fading away, they still, when they leave and that soul lifts up from that body, they instantly know you, who you are, every memory they shared with you, everything about you, all that they've done with you, every experience they've ever had with you, they know and they see it and see you as their soul leaves the body. Your soul also stores your hope. People don't realize that their soul actually stores their hope. Do you think you're hopeless? You're not. You think you have no hope anymore? That's not true. You think you've lost all your hope? No. No, 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 no. You didn't lose all your hope. Your hope is stored. It's stored in your soul. There's a well of it in your soul. Your soul also stores faith. If you have faith in God, your soul stores that faith. If you have faith in Jesus Christ, your soul stores that faith. If you're a Christian and you have faith in Jesus Christ, and for some reason you're a Christian and you lost faith in Jesus Christ, I promise you this, your soul still has faith in Jesus Christ. If you're someone that's not a Christian and you just believe in God and God is who you believe in, and you have faith in God, and you have tremendous faith in God, and then all of a sudden something happens to you in your life and you lose faith in God, I promise you this, your soul still stores your faith in God. If you think you lost trust and you had trust, and now you can't trust anything anymore and you can't trust anyone anymore, you can't trust anyone, you can't trust anything anymore because you lost trust, I can promise you this, that you have trust stored in your soul. The reason for that is it helps to keep us on the right path so we stay present here. Ideally, we would all have fully intact souls over the course of life's hardships. Though a soul can become fractured and even lose pieces of itself, but that's okay because we still never lose our soul. This can be caused by traumatic events. Traumatic events can fracture our soul, but that's all right because our soul can mend and heal. Our soul is unbreakable. It is unbreakable regardless of a fracture, regardless of hardships beating it down and wearing and tearing on your soul. It is unbreakable. This can be caused by traumatic events such as the death of a loved one. So many people go through betrayal by a loved one or betrayal of oneself, as well as ongoing traumas such as the loss of freedom and trust that comes with experiencing chronic symptoms and illness. I think so many people have been beaten down with their illness. You guys know about that. You had symptoms, or you still have them because you just found medical medium and you're working on your healing process, but you've been down that road and you had so many symptoms and suffered greatly so bad. And that wears and tears on the soul. Throughout the years, I would, through a process that Spirit of Compassion has taught me, to scan someone, and Spirit of Compassion would show me if they had any fractures on their soul. And it resembled cracks in a cathedral window. That's what it resembled when I would see it through Spirit of Compassion's eyes. Because the soul is made out of light. Our souls are a form of light. That when a soul is fractured, it looks like the sun. It looks like the inside, like you're inside a church. And the stained glass windows, there's light coming through, the sun. As for a soul with missing pieces, it's like a house at night that's meant to have all its lights on, except some of its rooms are still dark. When soul injuries are fresh, they can result in the feeling of being lost or loss of connection with oneself, loss of desire or inspiration to preserve or thrive. So many people lose their inspirations. They feel like they're dead inside. They feel like they died inside. They're numb and they don't feel like there's anything left in them. They feel like there's nothing there anymore. They feel like they are not being seen by anything and they're completely alone and completely in the dark. And that's what happens when soul injuries are actually fresh. It just happened. I just got let down. That person broke my trust. I feel so injured. I feel so misunderstood and not heard. So when the soul injuries are fresh, they could result in feeling like you're lost or there's a loss of connection. Like, where's the connection? There's no connection. A loss of desire or inspiration to persevere or thrive, or even like life force. How many that you guys know that where you feel like you lose your life force because you just had such a hard time? That's why it's important to be aware of our soul. And that's how you heal. Emotional support is understanding our own soul, because people, they don't realize they have this connection to their own soul. They don't know how to connect to their own soul. When you understand your soul and understand where it is and if it's been injured and how strong it is and how powerful it is, when you connect to your soul, that's how you can really do some emotional healing and rise out of something. That's why it's important to be aware of our soul. Wounds from hardships, betrayal, and broken trust or emotional hurt often exhaust a person's immune system, adrenals, and other body's defenses, triggering a physical issue that could be residing deep within our organs and body. So it's twofold. If you guys go through a hard time, if somebody goes through a hard time, I know a friend that just got betrayed so bad, just so bad. The betrayal was just horrendous. And he didn't want to live anymore. But when he really understood the soul connection that I was teaching him about, it was giving him a chance to say, I could get through this. You can't, you can't take my soul away. No one's going to be able to take my soul away. But at the same time, adrenals can get beaten down and our immune systems can be lowered because we're going through a lot. If we're betrayed, it does take a hit on our immune system and our physical body. It can beat us down, our adrenals. You go into this point where your adrenaline just spikes and feels like it gets out of control if someone's messing with you or you had a hardship. Someone just, your trust, you don't trust them anymore. Something happened and all of a sudden it's like adrenaline. You can even feel like you're shaking. You get so upset and hurt where you're shaking. And that's the adrenaline now being released and takes a toll on the body. Sometimes a person's soul injury and resulting emotional state isn't a physical problem, yet symptoms often take time to build quietly in the background. So a soul injury at an earlier time in life could be the trigger for the future symptoms or full-blown conditions to come. If you don't have the right knowledge, tools, and resources to take care of your soul and physical body, we can get in trouble. The medical medium tools are there to support your physical body and your emotional body. That's how you win. It's both. They're there. And even if you don't support your emotional body and you heal physically, it naturally can help to heal the emotional part of what you're going through in your life. It can help heal the emotional injuries. Let's be clear, emotional wounds and soul wounds are not the reason for physical suffering. That's important to know. They are not the cause of physical suffering. They're not the cause of fibromyalgia. They're not the cause of thyroid cancer. They're not the cause of multiple sclerosis or lupus or Lyme disease. Rather, they can act as triggers for underlying susceptibilities. When we go through emotional hardships, it can knock us so hard, it lowers our immune system and it triggers us. When we go through emotional hardships, our adrenaline can really get kicked into high gear because we're emotionally injured. And then we get knocked down a notch. It knocks us down. I can't tell you how many people that got into a difficult relationship and there was so much turmoil in that relationship. There was so much fighting and cheating and betrayal in that relationship that it lowered the immune system. And when it lowered the immune system, it broke them down and other things they had residing inside of them, pathogens, rose up and now they have chronic fatigue syndrome. They become triggers, but you're stronger than you know to have battled this long and gotten yourself this far in life. Now you can rise above. All this is knowledge so you can rise above your wounds. You can rise above the injuries physically that you've had, the pathogens, the exposures. You can rise above that and heal your emotions too, and rise above any kind of soul injuries. A person with soul injury is vulnerable. If you ever hear a friend say, I'm not ready for another relationship, I'm still hurting from my breakup, she's acknowledging that her soul needs time to heal before she risks putting herself out there again. So many of us know when our soul is vulnerable. We know that we're susceptible. We know it's like, whoa, I can't do that right now. I can't go through that again right now. I need to step back a little bit. My soul isn't feeling that strong. My soul's not feeling strong enough. Along the same lines, if you ever observe someone who's sick with symptoms or conditions and hasn't been able to find answers, you may see this person hungrily pursuing spiritual learning in any form, like religion, spiritual gurus, self help books, meditation retreats, breath work. It's likely because that person's soul has been injured from all the trust lost along the way. And she or he is instinctively searching for ways to make the soul healthy and complete again. When we fall ill with symptoms that won't go away or that continue to come and go, we lose trust in our body and others to help us. There are people who have been sick for years who turn to soul searching when they can't find answers. And that's another thing, too. I watched this for decades. People are looking for spiritual answers because no one knows why they're sick physically. What was really popular back to like 30 years ago, 25 years ago, was because nobody knew, of course, why anybody was sick with chronic illness. You go and find somebody, and then you try to find some kind of healer to give you any kind of answer. And there's a good chance they'll tell you it's because you had your head chopped off in 1733 in England somewhere. And that's why you're actually sick. Or they'll say you drowned. So they'll say like in the 1600s you were deemed a witch in the 1600s and you were put to death by drowning because nobody knew any answers, right? I remember people would come to me and they'd be like, "Well, I've been to every doctor and now I've been to every psychic and healer I can find around the planet and I have some good leads. One lead is I was drowned as a witch in the 1600s, and because of that, that's why I'm sick and I have all these problems and everything else." And Spirit of Compassion would say, that's not why the person's sick. Person has real reasons why they're sick, and Those are the answers you find in the medical medium books. Sometimes soul searching will bring people closer to themselves. Many times it will leave them feeling more lost than ever. Did you ever go soul searching and then you feel more lost than ever? Did you ever try to find yourself, but yet you feel more lost? Did that ever happen to you? Where you're going to try to find yourself, right? And you think you're going to find yourself. You're trying to find yourself. And then you're like, I think I found myself. I do. I think I found myself. But then all of a sudden you feel more lost than ever. And then you feel like you're down a rabbit hole where it's worse. Many times it will leave someone feeling more lost than ever. Under the guise of help, you may have heard the false theory that illness is just a cry for attention. Did you guys ever hear that? The false theory that went around for decades that medical medium information had to disprove. Did you ever hear that where it's a cry for help? That's why you're sick. You were looking for attention. Did you ever hear that one where you were looking for attention? That's why you were sick. That's another one that has tortured people for years that medical medium info had to disprove to help people. They give them answers. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that. Like you're just want attention. That's why what you're doing, right? That's what everybody's told. It just breaks my heart when I even hear that. You may have heard that when bad things happen to us, we cause them by thinking the wrong thoughts. Did you guys hear that one? Bad things are happening to you. You're sick because you caused it with your by having the wrong thoughts. Like by having the wrong thoughts, that's why you're sick. You caused your sickness by thinking the wrong thoughts. See, these are all made up things, made up theories here by men, by men here on the planet and women here on the planet. It's made up theories. And Spirit of Compassion is not from here. So has clarity on this because I can't tell you how many times I've had to rewire someone because they were positive they were sick because they had bad thoughts and that's why they were sick. I've said it before and I'll say it again. If you are ill or going through a trial like a divorce or a loss, you did not manifest it. If you are going through a sickness, you did not manifest it. If you are going through some type of feeling of like being disconnected, feeling lost, feeling hopeless and depressed, you did not manifest it. If you feel sadness that you can't explain and you feel like no one understands you and you can't understand yourself, you feel like you lost all trust in yourself, you did not manifest that. You did not attract it. It is not punishment or payback. It's not karma. If you guys have struggled and you suffered and something happened to you along the way, whatever you do, don't think it's karma paying you back in this lifetime. If a child is sick, you mean to tell me that child's karma is why that child is suffering? The one thing you'll find in the medical medium information is about freeing the brainwashing and freeing you up of the brainwashing and mind control that has been out there forever. And that mind control is in the alternative arts and alternative healing. I'm so sorry to say, I really am. It breaks my heart and kills me. It's also in the conventional healing too, in the conventional world. That mind control and brain conditioning is unbelievable. There's a spiritual war out there. It really is. And it just controls people purposely so those people can control everybody else. It's unbelievable. You did not attract it. It's not punishment or payback. It's not your bad karma. You have to know you're not sick because of your karma. Whatever you do, you can't fall into that. You do not deserve to be sick or unhappy. It's not your fault. You didn't manifest it. It's not your fault and it's not karma. I can promise you that. You don't need to travel the world trying to find yourself. I've seen people who have money travel the world to find themselves, and they're still sick. Soul healing is about reclaiming who you are because you are already good enough. Who you are already means more than you know. You are already good enough. It's just about healing now. You are already good enough. You deserve to heal. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to feel whole. Your heart serves as the compass for your actions, guiding you to do the right thing when your soul becomes lost. When our souls become lost, we feel like we're disconnected. We feel like our soul is busted up and broken. Our heart serves as the compass for our actions. It guides us to do the right thing when our soul becomes lost. Our heart matters in that situation. Your heart is also a safety net that can compensate for soul injuries. That means when we get broken down so hard and we had a really bad relationship or something happened in our life, our heart stands strong. This means you can have a tattered soul and a warm, loving heart. I can't tell you how many people that I've met that have they've been tattered along the way, but their heart is warm and their heart is loving and their heart is caring. I've been through a lot in my life and I still care and I still want to help and I still care about people and love people. And I know there's a whole bunch of people out there, they've been through hell and back and they still have a heart that's warm and loving and they care. When your soul suffers, losses, a strong heart will get you through with selfless love, compassion, and joy under the soul until your soul has managed to heal. Compassion is critical. Superficial love, that's a matter of the mind. Selfless love, that comes from the heart. You guys know about superficial love, right? Just superficial love. Love is not absolute. Love is not everything unless compassion is attached to it. That's why you can see somebody and they'll fall in love with someone and then they can fall out of love with someone. Like, what was it? Was it just a change of heart, a change of mind? What was that? How can you be so in love with someone, so in love with them, and then not love them anymore? That means that love had no compassion in there. It wasn't attached. They were separated. If you have love for someone and it's lost, that means the compassion is gone. Compassion is the glue to love. Love isn't enough. You have to have compassion as the glue for love, or love won't stand a chance. Love won't hang in there. Love won't even last. Love won't be strong enough. Love is just an empty word. Love is a totally empty word if compassion isn't intertwined or attached or somehow involved. If you don't have compassion involved, if compassion's not part of love, then love is not strong enough. Isn't everything just a lesson? We try to learn from it so we don't get burned by that stove again. But no, everything's not just a lesson. Unfortunately, it's not. It's like you don't need your arm chopped off to teach you a lesson. Is that a lesson? I know a lot of war vets that lost their legs. I'm intertwined with a lot of vets. I have vets in my family, the whole bit. And losing both your legs is not there to teach you a lesson. We can certainly try to grow from it and learn from it, but it wasn't done on purpose to teach us a lesson. Child abuse isn't there to teach a child a lesson. So yeah, no, things aren't there for a lesson. That's not how it works. We can try to grow. We can try to better ourselves. We can try to rise above it. We can try to use tools to rise above it, but it wasn't there to teach a child a lesson, child abuse. And it wasn't there for a soldier who's trying to do something good. It wasn't there for that soldier to lose their legs. Being killed isn't a lesson either for us to learn. Abuse of any kind for someone isn't a lesson for us to learn. That's not a lesson. We're not supposed to learn that as a lesson, but it happens. Our soul is strong. Only God knows what our soul went through and if and when it was wronged. Our soul is our life song. Walking in the woods, it's you and just your soul. Birds can feel it and they sing a love song, and your soul sings along. Our soul is our eternal power, a light that can never die out, a light that shines bright long after we leave this place. Our soul can be tall, so tall it can tower. There is no wall your soul can't stand above and see all. It stores all of our experiences deep within itself. The soul can store your faith you once had. So no matter if you lose your faith and path with God, it still holds true in your soul, thank God. It never forgets, it never wavers. Soul memory can outlast mountains as the rains slowly erode the rocks. The soul still stays true long after the earth decays and oceans have long since been blue. The road isn't always easy for a soul in a physical body enduring life's ups and downs. We step on a nail, yell and shout. It hurts so much. Our foot begins to swell, but our soul stays strong throughout. We break up with a friend. It hurts the heart again. The pain can be unbearable, but our soul sits alongside of us and rises above the betrayal and holds a candle to rebuild and heal while we once again restore trust. There comes a time when we realize how much deeper our light resides and how we are so much more than we ever knew. We are more than any earthly storm. We are more than the sun, the moon, and the stars. Our soul forever lives on long after everything else is gone.
Original published medical medium information gets stolen and poached by podcast doctors, social media doctors, influencers, and medical clinics. Medical medium information has never yet been proven wrong by medical science and research. Instead, the opposite, only proven right and then taken from medical medium published material and used in the conventional and alternative health communities. Medical medium information continually sets the stage for medical science to understand chronic illness better. If you choose to share or use the original, unique content from the Medical Medium podcast, books, or Medical Medium social media, please cite where this information comes from, so others who see and learn of this information have a chance to know where it all originates, to give them an opportunity to heal, so they don't end up losing years of their life searching for answers like so many have before them. The Medical Medium information here on this podcast doesn't come from broken science, interest groups, medical funding with strings attached, botched research, lobbyists, internal kickbacks, persuaded belief systems, private panels of influencers, health field payoffs, trendy traps, or gathered bits and pieces of gimmicky confusion. Because chronic illness is exploding like never before in our modern day history, it takes a greater force than us down here. It takes a helping hand from above. Medical medium information has street cred. It's an organic movement of countless people around the world healing. More healing stories of real people not being paid to tell their life-changing experiences of rising out of the ashes of sickness and entering into the light of full recovery, getting their lives back and finally healing when nothing else in the world of health could move the needle and get them better. The information on this podcast is not man-made. It comes from above, from a higher source. Whatever you believe in, whether God, the universe, the light, or the creator, or if you believe in nothing at all, that we're just floating through space together on this rock. Know that the information you hear on this podcast is separate from all the other noise out there. It comes from a different place, a pure, untampered with, advanced, clean, uncorrupted, original, primary source, a higher source, spirit of compassion.